Hello, family. Today is day 6, I think. We are in Florence. And we had a good day today, didn't we?
Yeah, an awesome day.
We started our day with waking up really late. Our apartment is awesome and it gets really, really cold and has shutters that close. So we took the opportunity to catch some much needed sleep.
It was amazing.
It was amazing.
The bed is relatively comfortable. It gets completely dark and mostly completely dark, and it's cold. It feels so good.
It also has a washer, which is nice, so all of our dirty clothes are getting washed right now. So we're pretty stoked on the choice of this apartment.
We actually decided to stay an extra day because we're enjoying our time.
Florence is awesome.
And
we loved it.
Technically have our scooter until the end of the day tomorrow. He was just like, return it by
The thing is, I
nighttime.
rented it for 2 days, and then we didn't get into Florence until late the first day, and so he was just like, you rented it essentially for 2 days. You're so late today, just bring it back on Sunday, the extra day, and it's no problem. So we're like, cool. So anyway, we have been scootering our faces off. We scootered. Now all of a sudden, now the whole city is in reach, because we used to look at a destination and be like, oh, it's 15 minutes away. Either we get a $20 Uber or we walk for 45 minutes in the heat. But now the scooter makes everything accessible. So we're feeling like we've had a lot better luck with the scooter. So we scooted to this. We scooted to this cafe this morning in this like bustling little street, and had an awesome, amazing breakfast. And Grace got a lox bagel, and she loves lox bagels, and I just got a simple breakfast with eggs.
Soft scramble with bread.
There was like a chive spread that they whisked into it. It was cool.
They were both really, really yummy and well worth it. We had cappuccinos and orange juice that was fresh pressed, and we loved it.
Yep, it was great.
And we're probably gonna go back tomorrow because it was that good.
It was good. The cafe was cute. And they've got like more interesting stuff to offer than what we ordered today. So we'll go back tomorrow. We found a good spot. And they are cafes are a lot like restaurants in that there's one spot that's a dime a dozen. They serve the same stuff. It all tastes the exact same. So we found a good cafe that we like. So we went there today. We wandered around a little bit, looked at some stores, and then we decided that we wanted to scooter the countryside, which I'm pretty sure they just call the Chianti, which I know is a style of wine, but Grace disagrees.
I think so. I think the Chianti is a region. There's a region, Chianti region. I think technically we were in the Chianti region, but I don't think that means countryside.
I think it does, but we're gonna look it up right now. Translation. A Tuscan red wine. Yeah, duh.
So we explored the Chianti region, and in general, we just like looked at maps and kind of picked a landmark that was sticking out that was sort of near where we were, but outside of town, just to get us started.
Okay,
So
it is a region. It is a region. It's the more mountainous area of Tuscany.
And it was more mountainous. And we went to the top of the mountain, and we could see for miles and miles in both directions, and it was actually better than the scene. The Michelangelo was so picturesque, and you could see the city landmarks so perfectly. But where we were, it was even higher than that, and you could just see for miles.
There's lots of valleys and lots of little draws that you could see that were just like embedded with grapes. What is the vineyards?
Lots of vineyards, lots and lots and lots of olive trees.
Yes, very cool. So we went up we got out of the city, and then we taught Grace how to drive the scooter, which was fun.
I was a little nervous in town because there's just so many people in the street, and the rule for scooters is they don't really have rules, which
you can pass
is
cars
not really
and
my
you drive in
favorite.
between cars,
And it's like, yeah, I could choose to follow the rules. Other scooters, and there are many of them, like anytime you pull up at a stoplight, it's like 7 scooters swarm you, and then it's like when the light turns green, they all race off, and I was like, I can barely touch the ground to like steady us if we need to stop, and I just don't know how safe that is.
I think it's fun. I think that
it was really, really fun. I just wanted to learn outside of the city limits.
Mm-hmm.
And when we went up in the Chianti country, we're just following the directions to some random landmark, and it took us on these roads that were single lane, like no parking, no curb on
they were
either
like
side.
8 feet across.
Like a car would have a hard time. There were cars going up them, but they were tight.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe
less than 8 feet. It was like
it felt narrow
like
for
the
a
size
scooter.
of this bed. Yeah, like if you were driving a car, you'd have to watch out so that you didn't like scrape your mirrors off on like the
both
walls.
sides. And it wasn't just like, oh, the road's narrow and then bushes. It was stone walls on either side, so you're just kind of going through.
It was really interesting.
It was really, really cool.
Mm-hmm.
And beyond the stone walls, there were really beautiful villas and castles, and when there was a break, it was just this incredible view. So we were in I think, kind of an expensive country zone, and that was lovely. I enjoyed that.
So we decided that we were going to spend the day driving the countryside, and so we set just a random point, like about 25 miles away, and Grace drove us there on the highway and got up to 60, almost 70 kilometers an hour, which is...
45?
How many is 70 kilometers an hour in miles per hour?
Fast. I avoided the...
It is 43.5 miles an hour. But it feels fast when you've got nothing, no windshield, and it's just you.
I didn't have the eye guard down, but when we went that fast, I was like, my eyelids are being peeled back, so I had to put it down.
So we learned that the scooter isn't a big enough engine to go on the freeways, so we have to deliberately avoid like the main roadways.
Full throttle is like maybe 50 miles per hour.
Yeah.
So.
Which is fine because we don't really want to go that fast. But we anyway went up 25 miles out of town to this little village, walked around the village, got some gelato, hung around and saw some cool sights, and poked our head into some shops.
Bought some strawberries because I saw this thing online that I thought was genius. I feel like maybe I mentioned this before. But you get a chocolate bar and you bring it out with you on your warm summer wanderings, and you bring some strawberries, and then the chocolate bar melts and you unwrap it and dip your strawberries in it. Genius. Except
we bought a big chocolate bar.
We bought a huge chocolate bar.
It was like this thick and this long. And
we may have had a piece or two before we left, so it was open. And I don't know how well it would have been sealed anyway. So I did put it in. I have these like
travel bags,
clear plastic travel bags, and I had a feeling this might happen. So I put it in there, so we were fine. But it did become full-on liquid. So in our scooter adventure,
we had a chocolate purse.
We had a chocolate purse. It like came out, but I swear a third of it was still in the purse, which is now soaking in the sink. But we found a really cute hill with some open area between some olive trees, and unwrapped our chocolate purse and our strawberries and had ourselves a chocolate covered strawberry treat.
Mm-hmm.
And it was yummy.
It was great. And then we rode back. We found a restaurant that had been highly reviewed, and everybody said it was great, and we went there, and it was awful.
It was packed, and we waited in line.
They did serve us wine in line, which is great, but it sucked. Grace had, I shouldn't say it sucked. My food sucked.
We got bread that was stale and not tasty.
I think it was bitter. Grace didn't get the bitterness, but it was just like,
we
it
had
wasn't
stale
good.
bread in a bag. We ordered cheese and this mustard and honey.
It's like a fruit mustard thing.
Not that good. It wasn't that good. And then we ordered
the salad I like. What's the salad called? Oh my gosh, the one panzanella. We ordered panzanella, and it came out so fast.
When
and then we looked down.
We cube bread somewhere between like this big to this big, and it's like crispy and crunchy, and you make this dressing, and it soaks up. And you chop up the tomatoes, and it's kind of, the bread sort of soaks up the juices of the tomatoes and the balsamic, but it's still like crunchy and yummy, and oh, it's so good. This was a pile of mush. It was absolutely disgusting. You could tell it was bread maybe chopped up finely yesterday.
It was obvious that they had made it in advance, scooped it out of a big pile of itself, and dumped it on the plate, because it wasn't like well plated or anything, but it was like just all of the bread had disintegrated into tiny little particles and was just like covering the thing. And so I was like, well, I'm starving, so I ate most of it, but didn't taste bad. It just looked like
the
old cereal.
Was gross.
Yeah, it was gross. And then we've been eating pasta so much, I decided to order steak, and Grace got this.
I got a
they call
truffle pasta.
Yeah, they call it tartufo, which means, we learned that it means more than mushroom, it means truffle. And so she got it on tagliatelle, which is tagliatelle but smaller, thinner. Mm-hmm. And then the creamy sauce and the truffle, it was a lot of truffle on top.
It was good. It was a little bland at first, but I salted her up.
They don't salt shit here. They don't salt. I don't know if I'm addicted, but they don't salt anything. So,
like, you could barely taste the truffle at all when I first did it, and I can see a pile of the truffle. I just can't really taste it. So I salted well, and then my meal was actually lovely. I loved it.
It looked like, so I ordered steak and it came out pre-cut, and I think that their thing is like T-bones. You can order like a T-bone service, and it like comes as like a pyramid thing, like stacked on a plate vertically. And I think that they do 2 cuts, because the other option for me was the grilled filet, and I just got grilled steak because I don't know. And I think that it was the less tender piece of the steak, and it looked like it
was very rare, so I was excited. I took a bite and I had to chew it for about 5 minutes. It was not good.
I think that it looked like they cooked one side more than the other, and grilled it really hot, and then didn't let it rest. And so I think that they were very busy, and so, but it came out, needed salt, and then we salted it, and then it was just kind of chewy and tough and tasted like burned char marks and not really anything else. And so that was what we got, and some potatoes that were decent. And then we decided to go on a scooter ride to El Duomo, which is the giant big dome in the middle of the city. It's like a big chapel. It is massive.
It's so big. It's so big.
It's like unfathomably large. It looks like it took years.
Because when you look at the cityscape, you can see it plopped like a cartoon, just so much bigger than any other building in sight. You can see it from so many different vantage points. But it is really, really cool to see in person.
You should Google it. It's really cool. Duomo. I'm sure that we'll come home and we'll show you pictures or whatever, but you should look it up. It's a Florence cathedral, and
it's like
they started building it in 1296, and they didn't complete it until 1469. So it did take 100 years to build, over 100 years. So learn something new every day. So we went and walked around that. took some pictures, and then decided it was time to come home.
I had to pee really bad, and it was nighttime, so most things are closed. So we came home.
Restaurants are only open from 7 to 11.
And a lot of shops are closed by 7 because I walked down that strip and there was nothing open other than food. So their hours are very specific, but clothing is not going to be open past like 5 or 6. And restaurants aren't open until 7 and then they close. So it was just like, I have to go to the bathroom. We should just go home. We're not that far.
We're too full for gelato. How many times have we had gelato today? Twice? We've been having gelato like 2 or 3 times a day. And by we, I mean Grace.
I think I only had gelato once today.
But it was good. Raspberry cheesecake.
It was good. I had raspberry cheesecake, and the raspberry like filling in it was very tart, which was nice with the like creaminess. Yeah, I had a mint chocolate chip yesterday. Bad. Not good gelato. But you want some, you lose some. If you have at least once a day, odds are you're gonna have some good gelato in your life.
We've got one more day in Florence. We're really excited. We've heard that Cinque Terre is very touristy, so we're a little bit hesitant, but we have so many points racked up on our credit card. I think that we're gonna buy a hotel and maybe something with a pool and chill out.
It's really, really beautiful, but I'm nervous that it's gonna be like Venice, and Florence has been so fun that we're like down to hang out. And we get the scooter, so we extended so we can scooter some more. Get the most out of our scooter rental. Get the most out of our washer.
Yep.
And take our time because we're not in any hurry to get out of here. But tomorrow we hang out here, and the next day we go to the coast.
We're excited. Okay, that's all we've got. We will...
Tell them how much you like the scooter.
I love the scooter. I think that it's like a go-kart on 2 wheels. It's automatic. It's easy to drive. You can do whatever you want. You can't make a mistake. Grace got honked at today, but she is a good scooter driver. I think I got honked at like my first 30 seconds. You got honked at.
When?
You were going
when
slow.
I was going too slow. To be fair, I was hauling ass. The thing only goes to like 50 miles an hour, and I was going like 40.
Yeah.
When we were going out to the countryside, I was full throttle for a long time.
And I'm heavy on the back. I'm dragging my feet.
The wagon I'm dragging is very heavy.
Okay.
So I was full throttle.
2 small things. I told Grace I'd stop doing this, but I'm not. We don't look very tan because we're not very tan. It turns out that the sun is very hot.
Sun's fake in Italy.
But the buildings are tall and they follow the alleyways and the streets that it kind of blocks the sun always, but you still feel the heat. So we don't look very tan because we're not in direct sun. We look kind of tan. The other thing is that it's kind of like being in a giant labyrinth because you can't really see outside of the walls. And so all of this buildings are tall, and then it's like being in that movie Maze Runner where it's all just a maze and you just have to scoot around until you find where you're supposed to be. Okay, that was it. That was my 2 cents. Okay, bye. We love you.